One question follows another. And conversations are not exactly my strength, but well, I chose this myself. While I was searching for my words, my eyes remained on his. He has beautiful eyes. They are the kind that give you a certain sense of safety. A moment later, I answered, without thinking too much about it. I expect a fair and just competition, smart decisions, a good relationship. A collaboration on equal terms, with a certain amount of giving and taking. That look of his is intense, and exactly that thought made me interrupt my sentence for a moment, before I continued. I suppose this agency is quite capable of all of that, if it is what it gives off. What kind of models are you looking for exactly? I still had to ask that question, because all I know is that this is about that magazine. But since I had never really looked at it closely, I do not actually know what exactly it is about.
Now he also began to speak more. He seemed to need a moment to open up, but that was perfectly fine with me. His expectations and wishes were justified. No one wanted to work for someone who did not appreciate what they had in their employees. I watched as his expression changed slightly into a more open attitude, no longer quite as tense and quiet as he had been in the beginning. We are looking for models for different themes, for example, various fashion trends, covers, dance and runway. After all, our products also need to be marketed. The theme requirements can be very individual, and working together with the other models is also important.
So quite varied then, I replied to him. Only the part about working with others does not sound that good to me, in the sense that I am not very good at that, but I will try. It does not seem like they will be group pictures. It also sounds rather unusual. So I would at least be interested in trying it. How good I am at it, posing in front of a camera, and also together with someone else, whether deliberately for the camera or completely naturally, that would only become clear once I tried. I said it freely and thoughtfully, without holding it back. Strange. This man really is drawing me out of my shell. That is rare. Very rare.
Still, I noticed a certain uncertainty in his words. Yet I think there is quite a bit of potential there, even if he may not see it yet himself. You will see that this kind of work, besides the stress, can also be enjoyable. I make sure that each of you will be taken care of, I replied calmly. After a short pause, I continued. Since I want to see more of you, you will move on to the next phase. It will take place in 2 days. There will be a small test shooting. The choice of clothing is entirely up to you. With that, I want to find out how consciously you choose your fashion for that day, and how you then present it in your posing. Those were my closing words for the conversation before I then said goodbye. I look forward to seeing what you will decide on. Until then, I wish you a pleasant stay. I then walked to the door and held it open for Noel.
I had not expected that now, and I answered, slightly irritated, while I followed him to the door. I am glad that you want to see me again. Before I left the room, I did still have one more question, which I quickly asked him while saying goodbye. It really does not matter what I wear? So it does not have to be socially acceptable? If that was the case, I would truly look forward to it, because that would be a shooting where I could try a few things for myself, things that had never really been possible before.
Of course, I still answered his question. It can even be quite unusual and individual, but it should represent you in a certain way. After we had finally said goodbye, I watched him for another moment. Something inside me had been activated. Something that rose slightly above my interest in his modeling abilities. Shortly after that, I closed the door behind me and took a brief breath. After all, it had generally been a long day, but it had been worth it in several ways. I had been able to meet some wonderful people, and even though not all of them made it, I hope they will continue on their path. I then took my documents, made my way to my dressing room, changed into something else, and let my thoughts circle for a while longer around the last conversation.